What's up, guys? Chris Patille here with Allied First Bank, your friendly neighborhood loan officer, coming live to you actually Monday afternoon for Mortgage Monday Volume 10. So we've been doing this going on 2.5, 3 months now, and we're up to our 10th episode, which is fantastic. I'm really excited for what we got in store today. Like we had talked about last week, I wanted to provide my sphere of influence and my direct partners that I work with on a day-to-day basis to help bridge the gap of the unknown when it comes to buying a first home. So today I wanted to focus on real estate, and a key part of that is having a great real estate agent. So let me see real quick if I can get somebody on the phone that might be able to help us out. Let's see if I can call one of my real estate agents. Give me 1 second, guys. Hold on here. Might just take a minute. Just gotta call them real quick. Let's see if they pick up. I know it's a Monday. They're probably busy. Yes, hello, Josh. Quick, hey buddy, I got a quick favor for you. Is there any way you can stop by my office? I'm doing Mortgage Monday right now, and I wanted to see if I can get a real estate agent on. Really? That's pretty quick. Cool. I'll see you soon. All right, guys. So Josh should be here. He said about 10, 15 minutes, but you never know when they might just show up sooner. So, whoa. Oh, that was pretty quick. Looks like we did get a real estate agent to stop by. Thank you for coming through on such short notice.
Nice to see you.
So come on in, sit down here. Guys, I'd like to introduce you to Josh Lassell. He is part of the Sell team, and he is with Patterson Schwartz. So Josh, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you, Chris. I've been looking forward to this one for a long time, actually.
Awesome. I just can't believe that you picked up the phone right now and then you're here in my office. I mean, if that doesn't speak to how quickly your response time is and how great of an agent you are, I don't know what does.
Well, if I don't answer my phone, there's no business for me. So customer service is number one, and I'll always pick up the phone for you.
Awesome.
Let's do this thing.
Awesome. I definitely appreciate it. So what I was thinking today was kind of switching it up. Granted, I want to know a little bit more about you, but let's do a little Q&A style, you know? I think there's some things out there, and guys, if you're watching, feel free to comment. Any questions you have for a real estate agent or even myself, we would be more than happy to, answer those for you. But I think I would like to go through just a lot of the questions that I think first-time home buyers have, or just what things that you can talk about that might show the viewers out there on what separates you from a normal real estate agent. Because one of my main focuses for doing this is talking about my experience and the bad experience I had buying my house, not so much on the real estate side because that part was smooth, but on the lending side, and that was my biggest, push to be able to do this. So, I've partnered with Josh Sell, and Josh and his fiance Paige are literally two of the best agents I've ever had the pleasure of doing business with. So that's why I wanted to bring them on the show. So why don't we start out? Just tell me a little bit more about you, about your company, and what you got going on.
Well, first of all, that's really nice of you to say, actually. We've always enjoyed doing business with you guys.
I appreciate that.
We actually really love working with Allied as well. Just walking through this office, I just saw every one of my friends in every cubicle. I love coming in here.
You happen to know everybody in Delaware, so that normally comes with the show.
So a little bit about our business.
Yeah.
Paige and I have been doing this for a combined about 10 years.
Okay.
We primarily focus on selling investment properties,
Okay.
financing investment properties,
Okay.
and reselling newly renovated properties.
Okay.
But along with that, we work with a lot of first-time home buyers. We work with a lot of move-up buyers.
Yep.
We have a lot of sellers. We actually list probably 4 or 5 times as many homes as we sell to first-time home buyers or to regular purchasers.
Wow. So you guys are doing a lot of business.
We like to think that we are.
Okay.
Yes. But one of our biggest focuses is consistency.
Okay.
Everybody wants to be at the top. Everybody wants to make top dollar. Everybody wants to sell as many homes as they can, close as many loans as you can.
Sure.
But we can all only handle so much.
Right.
And one of the most critical things that I feel in my business is really being able to give that same consistency to everybody that we're working with too.
Okay. And that kind of leads me into my first question for you. You know, one of the things that we had talked about previously is, you know, what are some of the duties and what are some of the things that you do for your clients? Now, granted, I could speak volumes to that because you sold me my most recent house.
Yeah.
Josh was my buyer's agent, and him and Paige did a phenomenal job helping my wife Katie and I buy our new house in Landenberg. So I can definitely talk for days about this, but I think, you know, you were dealing more with, you know, first-time home buyers transactionally with showing them houses, multiple houses, helping them write offers. I mean, what are some of the things that you do for your clients that kind of set you apart from, I don't want to say an average or a basic agent, but maybe I do.
Well, what makes me or Paige and I or our team the best for each buyer and each situation, right?
Perfect.
They're all so different. And first of all, I'll just say that when we're working with a buyer or buyers, it's actually really an enjoyable experience. You get to go through from day one when these people have no idea what it is that they really want. They think they know, but how do you really teach them what works for them, what's good for them?
Correct.
You've got some of these young bucks coming right out of college, right out of high school even, and they're working hard.
A lot of the millennials, you know, they're more focused on texting and finding the houses online, and that's been something that we've talked about too, is how the dynamic has changed.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, and it still goes this way, depending on what kind of buyers that we're working with. I know there are some people out there that I need to pick up my phone and call them every time I talk to them. Right. And then we've got the other, you know, young millennial.
You may not talk to them for weeks, but it may be a casual text.
Them, right? Until you get to the first house, right? Right. But yeah, there's so many different kinds of adjustments that I'm making in my search with a buyer, and depending on, you know, the age range, how they best communicate. Everybody, you know, there's very analytical people, there's very visual people, there's all kinds of different buyers out there. So how can you connect with your buyers and truly understand what they really need? And most of the time, these buyers don't really understand what they need at all.
Right. They almost come from a place where they have an image or a thought in their mind that's, hey, I want to buy a house. I know I need a real estate agent. I know I need a mortgage lender, but I don't really know what each one of those people are going to do. And that's why I've turned to, you know, doing the show Mortgage Monday, because I'm trying to educate these clients on, hey, here's the first step, you know, because I don't want to give you a buyer that hasn't been pre-approved, because that doesn't help you any.
Sure.
So, you know, the same thing goes for, you know, what you're giving back to your clients. And kind of going back to what you said before, you know, you work a lot on the investment side, but talk to me about some of the things that you love, you know, working with buyers, and then maybe separate that on first-time home buyers as well.
I'll tell you the golden rule that I can see with my buyers.
Got some golden nuggets coming, guys.
When you see that glimmer in their eyes, that's really all you need. Now, it's my responsibility, it's Paige's responsibility to see that glimmer and then to evaluate
to make sure it's a good
purchase in itself, and make sure that is a smart purchase for them. Does that really work for them? What kind of repairs is this property going to need?
That's huge.
Do it yourself, right? Everybody wants to be a flipper these days. Everybody loves HGTV and all these flip shows.
My favorite, Flip or Flop, baby. Yeah, Tarek and Christina all day.
Christina.
Agreed. But that's not real life, though. You know, granted, when we went to look at my house, to roll the clock back about a year, you know, you were there when we saw the house, and I fell in love with it. But, you know, Josh also helped me with a list of things that the house needed. You know, I went in there and with a construction background, I had a pretty good eye, but Josh, with doing this every day, was able to say, hey, those windows are going to cost you this. Here's what I think you're going to have to pay for the driveway. Here's what I think the garage doors are worth. You were able to literally go through and say, hey, here's the things that you could do now. Here's the things that you can do later. And then here's what I think the value of all of those things once they're done are going to be for you. And that's one thing I had never seen from another real estate agent. I've been to houses, I've been to showings, but nobody really broke it down like that. And that was a huge factor for me. And that's why, you know, I really feel so strongly about having you as an agent, because that's something that you went above and beyond.
And I'm glad that you touched on it, because a part of my background is construction.
Talk to me about that.
When I got into this business, I started this business as a young real estate agent, just looking to get busy. And my first home I ever renovated was for my father. I drove an hour and a half down south to Georgetown, Delaware every day when I was living in Westchester, Pennsylvania. It was 4 months. It was baptism by fire.
Yep.
And it was the best thing I ever did. After that, I flipped 20 or 25 homes in maybe a 3-year period. And I was the GC for my construction crew. I was on site every day.
Okay.
I was doing the estimates.
Okay.
I was doing the material purchases. I was doing everything about that. And I was even swinging my own hammer.
Gotcha.
I can install your kitchen cabinets. I can do your tile if I wanted to.
Right.
The business has changed, but the amount of knowledge that I brought out of my first few years of this career is something that I would never change for the world. So that goes right into what we were talking about with going through a home with a buyer and figuring out what's important to them.
Right.
Well, not everybody has money in the bank to do all these repairs.
True.
So we want to make sure that if I'm working with a young couple that's focused on their career, what is the most important to them? Is it building $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 in equity in their home? That sounds really nice, right?
Right.
But what if you can give them a home maybe that's turnkey, and they can take that promotion at their work instead of focusing on doing a renovation at their home? And you need to be able to differentiate what is truly important to a buyer. And sometimes it takes a little bit to figure that out.
I agree, because, you know, all the clients that I work with, granted, some of them come turnkey, ready to go. They know exactly what they're interested in. But others, you know, may have just got their first job, and, you know, maybe their rent went up, you know, 10 to 15%. And they're like, I want to stop throwing away money renting and I want to buy a house, you know. So I think that's a huge thing that's a huge benefit that you bring to the table for your clients. Talk to me about time management and talk to me about communication. You know, I work with a lot of different clients in a lot of different states. So granted, I know you guys cover Delaware and Pennsylvania, but, you know, I heard from my clients when I've referred business out that, hey, he didn't return my call after 5 till the next business day, or maybe the day after, or he wasn't available to show houses on weekends. I mean, talk to me about the market right now that we're in and how important it is to really communicate with your client.
Yeah, you know, along with this communication, I'll tell you one of my weaknesses that I've picked out as my business has developed over the years, and that is wanting to always communicate better.
Right.
And what I've done is, what I've learned over the years is that once your business gets to a certain point, in order to not miss all of those details, and you know how important every detail in these transactions is, then if we are doing a good amount of business at this point, then you need someone else to help you.
Right.
And that's actually where my fiance came in.
And I think that's probably, you know, one of your biggest blessings. I mean, I've had the opportunity to work with Paige. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here today. But, you know, she is very detail-oriented. And I know with the clients that we've had together, you know, she's always on top of reaching out to that client, answering the questions that that client may have. And I think that is a huge dynamic of the sell team, is having your background and having Paige's background come together I think is just a win-win for any client looking to buy a house.
I think that you're getting two agents for the price of one,
of course,
which is a huge bonus,
of course.
And you know, I tell you that's a weakness, and it is a weakness of mine. When you have so much business, it's a weakness of everybody's, right? That
Right.
You always want to communicate better.
Nobody's
You don't want to miss
perfect.
the details. Right. But one of the big benefits that we've found that works really well for us that you're a part of every day is our group text messages.
That is true.
We set up a group text message for every one of our interested clients or buyers or sellers, whatever makes sense. And you'll have a text with Paige and I both, or Paige and I and Chris.
Right.
And that way, when a client really needs that customer service, or it's late at night, it's 11:30 at night, and
we've been there on those calls.
And they've got home inspection repairs that they are worried through the roof. They've got a new septic system that needs to go in that's $25,000. I mean,
that happened to me.
These purchases can get really, really scary. And you do need somebody to be there for you at all times. And that's something that I love about the group text messaging that we all put together on every one of these transactions. Because if Chris can't answer, I can. Right. Paige can't. There's always somebody there for you. And I do like that one aspect of our communication.
I think that goes towards, you know, as you guys know, I'm all about service and just, you know, not always just being available, but being able to have that answer. You know, the whole reason of me doing this is so that, granted, I have my piece of the puzzle. I'm awesome with mortgages, pre-approvals, networking, but there are many other individuals like Josh that are a part of my success and a part of what makes me so good. You know, if I didn't have agents like Josh out there, it would be very hard to be as successful and deliver, you know, top-notch service in this industry. When you get a chance to work with Josh and I mean, it's literally just constant communication from day one all the way to closing. I mean, I remember a closing we did, 2 or 3, maybe months ago, where we threw a pizza party. And then we took our client out for dinner and drinks afterwards. You know, granted, they had a couple issues with the home inspection and things getting done on the seller side, but we made it as fun and enjoyable for them as possible. Like, when have you gone to settlement and had 3 pizzas be delivered while you're signing papers? And the closing agent's like, please don't get any grease on our documents because they're not going to accept it. I mean, but that was fun though. I mean, that wasn't just
you know what else you're talking about right now with your communication there is it's not just about returning that text message, right? It's being able to adapt to each and every one of your clients.
True. Might not be text message. It could be email.
I'm not saying pizza was their favorite food, but they enjoyed that kind of a setting, right? They enjoyed going out for dinner after we settled. They enjoyed being able to talk about all the BS that we went through in that particular transaction. That was a really tough one.
I love it. But at the end of the day, we got it closed.
So we were able to adapt. We were able to close it. They're happy. They live in a beautiful home now in Landenberg. It worked out really well. And you need to be able to do that for every one of your clients in a different way. You need to be able to adapt. You know, we're speaking a lot about the group text messaging. Well, how many of your clients don't even text?
I have a fair number, and on those, I do emails. On those, I'll do conference calls with the real estate agent, with my client, with me. I mean, you know,
we've got to know who we can actually call,
for sure,
who we can text,
for sure.
You need to be able to make those decisions per client, right?
And that's huge, to just understanding your client's needs. You know, they may work 60 hours a week where they can't talk. You know, texting may be the only way. But you have to be able to be efficient in whatever environment. And I just want to give a shout out real quick to Barry Ziegler, because Barry just said, what up? Barry, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure knowing you and getting a chance to work with you as well. So what's going on, Barry?
Barry, I think Chris needs a shirt.
Yes.
I'm an XL, double XL. I'm one of those. We buy houses.
He's XL. I'm just a basic large, but hey, anything you got, Barry, we definitely appreciate it. Let's kind of just switch gears on, you know, something that we kind of touched on, but what are some of the issues that buyers go through with a normal transaction that just kind of with your expertise, you're able to overcome and be able to get us to that closing table? Because granted, there's things that happen on both sides. You know, things aren't always perfect with the loan, but being able to think on your feet and think outside the box is what gets loans done. But the same happens for you, though. I mean, you have things come up. Tell me a little bit about that.
I mean, you and I are working in the same world, right?
Right.
We're doing two different things, but we're both together. We're constantly being forced to come up with solutions. That's
Right.
all it is. Every day, our communication is just figuring out these solutions necessary to get these things done.
Right.
From the start, a buyer wants to buy a home. That's all they know. They don't know anything else.
Right.
And they come to one of us and they start asking us questions. And what do? Well, we want to get their financials in order, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that they can buy a house.
Correct.
Not only so that on our side, we're not wasting our time working with someone who has no business buying a house,
right.
but we're also going to educate you how to organize your financials and how to get everything in line for your purchase.
Correct.
And I think it's really important to start that far earlier than you ever think.
Sure.
Most people start much later. They start 2 weeks before.
We get the call. They're like, Chris, my lease is up October 1st. It's September 15th. Yeah, we're going to need to get pre-approved and buy a house in 2 weeks. It's just not always that easy. I mean, it takes time. You have to build credit. You know, you have to get your income together. You know, maybe there's collection accounts that you have to fix. Luckily, you know, we have options out there to be able to correct that. But Josh is right, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. You have to start earlier than you think, so that the professionals can work together to get you to that point. So when you say, hey, I have to be out of my house in October, all the groundwork is already done, and we're getting ready to, you know, put that offer in, or we're getting ready to, you know, settle on that. And, you know, that's just a huge part of this game.
So from the gate, I think financial planning and planning in general for your purchase, because, I mean, like you just said, somebody walks through a house and looks at a home at an open house, and all of a sudden they go, okay, I want to buy this.
Right.
But they don't even know if they're approved, if they can get a pre-approval, or if they can get a mortgage. And they have no idea the kinds of different obstacles that are going to come up. So their financials and their mortgage, that's the first one, right? And then we're going to discuss all the details of what they need in a home. But
you're talking like bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, one-car garage, two-car garage,
for their needs, right? Yeah, all those physical details.
Okay.
And then as we go through the transaction, obviously there's going to be the minute details, like even just scheduling the showings. Everybody has a different work hours and so on. But we go through the home inspections. Well, not that I'm not trying to toot my horn here, but one of the benefits of working with someone like myself who's been in construction is you go through and you do a home inspection and you have a 70-page report from the home inspector giving you 750 things that could be wrong with the house, but they want you to consult with another professional, right? Well, we have some experience in those things, and my opinion might not be the end-all be-all, but we're certainly going to look out for our clients the best we can.
That's the number one goal.
So getting through our home inspections, that's going to be a huge factor. We spend weeks negotiating some of these home inspection reports when they come back. One of your next ones is your appraisal, right? The appraisal can be very tough to work through at times. All sellers are trying to push market value up as high as they possibly can.
Of course.
Buyers are trying to get it as cheap as they can. There's always this gap, this window. And meanwhile, an appraiser is supposed to come in and obtain value on a purchase or ruin it completely. And that is one of the biggest obstacles that you have to deal with at times. And I can't say that we have to deal with appraisal issues every day, because we don't. And that's a part of us overlooking your transaction as well. If we're having appraisal issues on every one of our transactions, that's an issue. That's an issue. For sure. That's an issue on our behalf, because we also want to oversee that the values for a buyer make sense.
You want to make sure that they're not buying a house that in 2 or 3 years is going to be worth way less than what they owe underwater. For sure.
So, you know, when working with a buyer, if you lock something up at 200 and it comes in at 190, well, who told you in the first place that it was worth 200? Me. Right. So I want to make sure that I give conservative efforts for all of our buyers and make sure that they're safe.
Okay.
That's a really big obstacle. Some of the other obstacles that we have to get around are simple attorney matters. Title issues come up.
Yeah.
Even just communication with attorneys and their paralegals.
Right.
Some are not as good as others. But I will give a shout out to Ward & Taylor, because I love working with them. The paralegals over there have always been fantastic. I have closed properties with every one of their attorneys over there, and actually Bill Ward was my teacher.
Okay.
I went through school 6 or 7 years ago.
That's awesome.
So
just did a transaction with them last week.
they do an excellent job over there.
Very
They have a
smooth.
really nice office.
Oh, beautiful
They take care of everyone over there.
I think my favorite thing is the bowl of M&Ms, because normally, I'm not sitting too close to the buyer. Normally, it's the buyer, their family, and I'm over there in the corner with the bowl of M&Ms, just getting after it.
Skip breakfast.
Right. They are definitely a huge asset, and that's something that'll be another one of our Mortgage Mondays is speaking to a title company. Granted, if I can get Ward and Taylor in here, that would be fantastic. But I am very close with another title company, Certified Title Corp. A good friend of mine, Johnny Warren, and then actually my wife, Katie, works there as well. So they would be, two other people that we've all done business with that we can have in here. But you're right. I mean, communication with all of those third parties is something that Josh and I have to leverage and balance. If he's not reaching out to the appraiser to get the inspection scheduled, and if I'm not talking to the title company, telling them when settlement's going to be, things can just blow up in front of you. And I think one of the benefits to working with, a team like we have right here is just the fact that our communication is on point. And, granted, I'm licensed in all 50 states, so I have team members like this, like Josh, maybe not as influential as Josh with everything that he can do, but the whole point in having that teamwork is that you have somebody that you can rely on and that you have another professional with the same mindset as you. I don't partner with people that aren't a good fit. I partner with people that are very like-minded like myself, that have the same work hours like myself. I'll call Josh at 8 o'clock at night, and he has no problem answering the phone, being like, hey, let me just run this across you. What do you think about this? And, we've done deals on Saturdays. We've gone to open houses on Sundays together. That's just one part of the package that we offer. And, it's been awesome working with you. I enjoy it. I think our clients enjoy it. I think when they get done, they're like, you know what, that was smooth. And if I have one client that thinks, hey, that process was a lot better than I thought, I think that means that we did our job. We did our job right, and we were successful in our communication. I think that's the biggest thing for us to our client is just communication, because
I like
they don't get that a lot of times.
I like what you said about working with like-minded people.
Yep.
And of course, with all the everything that you can say that can offend this person and that person nowadays,
you can't go anywhere without not offending somebody.
We love working with like-minded people, and sometimes I always want to be careful when I say it, because I don't want you to think that if we're not exactly like each other that we can't do business, right? We can certainly. We will work with anybody out there that wants to seriously purchase a home.
Yep.
Or get a mortgage.
Yep.
Right? And that's what we're talking about with adaptability too.
For sure.
We may relate really well with some of the millennials even.
I think we do that
with buyers. But,
perfectly.
But we both had the experience to work with our veterans, our experienced buyers,
yep.
sellers. There's a lot of different people out there to work with, and adaptability is really important.
Well, that's awesome. That pretty much sums it up to me, guys. I think we touched on a lot of great things so you can see, the viewpoint from a real estate agent. I was just lucky that Josh was in the area. He must have been downstairs grabbing lunch or something. But, I greatly appreciate you coming through. I think you have a wealth of knowledge, and I think that really helps people. I know it helped me purchase my home, and, that's why I want to have like-minded professionals on here so we can talk about the same things so we can better serve our clients. So anybody out there, looking to get pre-approved, bam, I hope I'm your guy. And, anybody out there looking to buy or sell a home, Josh and Paige are in Delaware and Pennsylvania, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to talk to you as well.
And, thank you for inviting me on today.
Of course.
I actually had a lot of fun doing this with you, and
awesome.
I would always love to do it. But I just want to let everybody know that we are here to educate you and to help you. It's a very scary process to be making the biggest purchase of your life.
Largest financial transaction.
And be going into it completely blind for the most part. except for what Zillow is telling you.
Well, in my mind, Zillow is key. If I can't trust Zillow, who can I really trust in this world? You know?
Yep.
I mean, I go on Zillow once a night just to check if my home value increased or not, because that's pretty much written law.
Because that's a real appraisal.
I mean, it's definitely a real appraisal. But
Well, for all of you new home buyers that don't know about Zillow, we are completely mocking Zillow.
yes, don't use Zillow.
Zillow may be a good site for many reasons, but do not call us and tell us that your home is worth this price because Zillow says so.
And it happens multiple times a week.
But I do want to just thank you again for having me out.
Of course.
And thank you for the kind words too. Chris is absolutely one of the best in this business.
I appreciate that.
We are like-minded people, and that's why we work so well together. That's why our teams work so well together. Katie, don't kill me for the shout out to Warden Taylor and not certified, because I have had the pleasure of doing business with Katie and Johnny Warren.
Yep.
And it was a fantastic experience. We've closed a lot of deals with them.
Yeah.
And they're very good at what they do.
That is true. And we'll have them on later on in our upcoming shows, probably either later October or, maybe early October. We'll see. I know I got a bunch of requests last week for people that wanted to jump on. So luckily, when you hit me up, I was like, hey, what are you doing Monday? Just didn't talk about time, but hey, you were close by, so I greatly appreciate it.
This is really new for me. And
I think you killed it. I think you did great.
I had fun with it.
Right?
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people think video is hard, and one of my first videos was stepping out of your comfort zone. I created this 9-step, pre-approval process, and I was on video, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, wow, I'm normally not nervous. Like, this is pretty horrible, and nobody's even watching me. So
yeah,
I definitely commend you for, coming out of your shell. That just means that you're growing and, doing new things as
it's
well.
More adaptation, right?
For sure.
The world's changing. Everything is changing. The way people purchase homes is changing.
Yep.
You got all kinds of people who, to stay competitive in this business, we need to stay up with the times. So
for sure.
So you're right. This is me stepping out of my comfort zone.
I love it, because imperfect action is better than no action, brother.
I agree.
That's awesome. Hey, man, thank you once again.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I appreciate it. We're going to let these guys get back to work. Maybe I have to get back to work.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys. And join us next week for Mortgage Monday, and we'll have a special guest for you then as well. Take it easy.